Hello and welcome to domytriesthis. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug is a Georgia State University mom coffee mug that my middle daughter gave me for Christmas. She will be graduating from Georgia State University very soon. I believe this is going to be her last term. So she's right there. She's getting ready to graduate. Very, very proud of her. Very, very proud. Anyway, and on the back it says Georgia State University as well. It just doesn't have the big mom on the front. Today's tea is one of my favorites from Stash. It is the Gold Cup Chai. It's one of the few non-dessert teas that I really, really like from them. And it's been a while since I've had it, so let's give it a taste. One of the things I like about this tea is the spice of it. You can really get, I think there's like some cinnamon and some other things in there. Let's see what it says. Organic cinnamon, organic ginger root, organic turmeric, organic orange peel, organic cardamom seed, and organic clove. So it's a really, really nice, it's got a good spice, it's got a good kick to it. Yeah, really like that tea. It's actually been steeping for a little while because things happen. So today is another Whole and Healthy Wednesday. I'm really kind of excited about it, and I'm a little dreading it this time because today I start my accountability with you guys. But first, let's talk about what we're going to be using new and old. So new is going to be the Urban Decay Elements palette. This is my palette that I'm using for my quote-unquote one palette 3 looks. I'm going to try to use it all month long, and at the end of the month I'm going to give a report back on it. So that's my new. And my old is going to be my Profusion Mixed Metals Peach. As you recall, I got this last summer in PR from them. It was very exciting. This is a really, really nice palette. I actually really enjoy it. I don't use it much, mostly because it is more neutral colors, but it's a gorgeous palette, and the pigmentation is great. Most of my other stuff will be new. I'm going to use an Ofra highlighter and Rodeo Drive that I picked up, that I got in a giveaway, and I'm going to use my Becca Be a Light palette. This is going to include my powder, my bronzer, and my blush. Old stuff will be my CoverGirl mix with my foundations, plus my Vichy, and beyond that we'll have to see. So haven't quite completely figured out where I'm going yet. But we can go ahead and get started, and I'm going to take a look at these. Alrighty, so I'm going to use my Juvia's Place Buffer eyeshadow brush, and I think I'm going to start with this color Wannabe, and I'll put that under my brow. So today, like I said, is about accountability a little bit. At the beginning of the year, I did my weigh-in and my measurements. Now, I haven't done anything like that for several months. It's just been very, very difficult. But I do want to talk about those things a little bit, but we will also get those out of the way, sort of. My measurements are actually doing really good, all things considered. Like I said, it's been 3 years since I've done anything consistently. So having any kind of still down is good to me. And I did have some gains over Christmas. This really is no surprise, I'm sure. We all gain a little bit over the holidays. They're good. They're good eating days, right? So, but I'm still 48, a little over 48, a little under 49 pounds. Still have kept off about 49 pounds for a good, since I started, I guess, a couple of years. Started in 2012 or something like that. So yeah, quite a while. But I wanted to talk about the other measurements. I wanted to get this all out of the way. I'm going to be real with you guys. I am a big girl. I'm sure you guys can tell that when you're looking at me on the screen. So I wanted you to know where I stand. I've got my things all written down, and then we're going to talk about weigh-ins and measurements and things like that. So, my weight was 248.2. I started this at 297 somewhere. So, my bicep size was 18.25, which means I've kept about 1¼ inches off over the last few years. Under my bust, I don't do my chest. As women will tell you, that's where we first gain and lose weight, or at least that's where we first lose. But under my bust, my band line was 41, and I've maintained an inch loss of 3½ inches. My waist was 46.5. I've maintained a ½ inch loss. It had gone down quite a bit significantly over the last 2 or 3 years. It's actually increased some. We're going to be taking care of that, though. My belly button, which is, I think, a little bit below my waist. I'm not sure. It's in a different spot than what my actual waist is. So when I put the measurement band for my waist, I let it fall naturally where my waist is, and then I have to put it a little bit lower for my belly button measurement. And that is 52, and I've maintained a loss of 1¼ inches on that. My hips are 55½ inches, maintained 1½ inch loss on that. My thigh is 28¾ inches, and I've maintained a 2¾ inch loss on that. And so those are the measurements and my scale. So being real, being honest, I'm a big girl. I will probably always be at least relatively a big girl. I'm going to take this color right there. Ego. I'm going to put that in my inner corner of my eye. All right, so weigh-ins. Actually not weighing in and not being focused on losing weight the last year or two has been very good for me. And I know that's going to sound a little strange because I gained weight. Thing is, I'm going for something a little on the natural side here. But the thing is, you can become very obsessive about your weight and about weighing in. A lot of diets, some doctors will tell you to weigh in 2 or 3 times a week. There are people who tell you to weigh in every single day. Personally, I find, now let me say that I did get caught up in that particular mentality of needing to check my weight every day. And I justified it at the time because I use a heart monitor. So I justified it at the time as needing to have an accurate weight for my calorie burn for my heart monitor. Well, here's the thing about that. A pound isn't going to make that big of a difference, one way or the other. 3 pounds isn't going to make that big of a difference, one way or the other. The burns don't change that much for a pound or 3 or 5 even. So trying to be that accurate, honestly, it honestly doesn't really help you much. It doesn't. I'm going to try this silver burn down here. Looks like a gray with a pinkish glitter. Let's see what that does. Let's see. When I first started up, I'm using the same brush. When I first started up, I actually didn't weigh in that much. Okay, so this one isn't doing much. And then I became part of a community. Okay, now it's starting to show up. Just a little bit. It's kind of, I don't know, this is, maybe you need a harder brush. We'll do the other eye with the same brush and then we'll switch out and see if another brush will make it better. Because sometimes it's all in the brush. It's there, just not there. Anyway, I became part of Lose It, which I highly recommend if you're trying to track your food and all that other stuff. And they actually encouraged at least weekly. Some people encouraged 2 or 3 days a week. And I got pretty obsessive about it. And I got to tell you something. especially when you're first starting to do that kind of thing. It gets very frustrating, depressing, a whole lot of things. Because see, here's the thing. Your weight will naturally fluctuate 2 to 3 pounds, 2 to 5 pounds, 1 to 5 pounds throughout the day and throughout a week. So weighing in every single day and seeing the ups and downs of your weight every single day isn't necessarily going to help you. It'll probably end up frustrating you. There's a good chance it'll upset you in a lot of ways. Okay, so I'm going to use this crown brush, and we're going to try that color again and see if this different kind of brush type helps. Doesn't look like it will. No, it's not doing much. I can kind of see it. Can you see it? Yeah, it's there. But we definitely need to have something go across the middle and bring those two together. So as I was saying, it gets very frustrating if you get on the scale every single day and you're up one day and you're down the next. You're cheering when you go down and then you go up, and then you're aggravated because you've gone up. And it's normal. It's really normal to do that. If you're losing weight, if that's your goal, to lose weight, I honestly, now this is a personal recommendation. I'm not a doctor. I've just researched the web and tried to find the best resources that aren't full of woo and the newest fad diet and all of that other stuff. That's what I've done. But, you know, even hours of Google do not a doctor make. So it doesn't make up for, you know, doctors do years and years and years and years of study. But honestly, weighing in more than once a week, I think is kind of pointless, to be honest. For me, even that's too much. And there's several reasons for that. And the main one is, I don't want to get caught up into that mess again. I shouldn't say that's the main one, but that's a big one. But the main one is that I'm not trying to lose weight. Sorry, had to see where the cat went because they're getting all kinds of things over here. They like my filming area. I don't know what it is. Anyway, as I was saying, the other reason is that I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm trying to reshape my body more than anything. Because muscle is what makes you lean. Muscle is what gives you definition. Muscle is what gives you a real waistline. Things like that. So that's my goal. And so honestly, weighing myself more than once a month is really ridiculous. But the other thing is, because muscle takes time to build and the inches take time to come off and all that other stuff. But the other thing is like I said, I got stuck in that weighing all the time, and it was a very hard habit to break. I'm going to put this color Volcanic across the middle and see what it does. Oh, it brings up some shine. So I don't want to get caught back up in that. I don't want to, mentally, it's exhausting. Emotionally, you know, it's just, it's not something I really want to be making a part of my life all the time. I don't need the aggravation, to be honest with you. I need to focus on doing the habits that are healthy more than how much I weigh. So for me, I'm going to be weighing in once a month. It's usually at the beginning of the month, at the end of one month or the beginning of the next month. For anybody else, I recommend once a week. Now, some things about weighing in. You should try to do it at the same time every day. And in the same condition and in the same clothing or non-clothing, however it may be. I'm going to take this color Fortune Teller. It looks like it's a duochrome. I'm going to use that in my crease and on my outer edge. We will see what that does. It's got kind of a reddish, I'm mostly saying red. Huh. Okay, I'm going to go over this. That's not going to work for me. So, yeah, we were talking about how and when to weigh in. If you're losing weight, do it about the same time every day. So I found it easier to do it first thing. Get up, do all my, morning things, weigh in. I would personally just go in my underwear. That way I don't have to count clothes in. It's kind of funny when you're trying to lose weight. The things you will do to get a loss. It's actually really more sad than funny, but it's true, the things you will do. I'm going to take this color Moon Rock and go over what I just did. Some of the things, make sure you go to the bathroom first. That was a big trick. Be as undressed as possible. I remember for a while I would do it after I did a walk and a workout, because I would have sweated things off, and I was lighter after doing all that sweating. Yeah, it's just interesting, the things that people will do when they're desperate to lose weight and they want to see a downward number on the scale. And I'm as guilty of it. I really am. Like I said, I used to go out and take my walk, and then I would do my weigh in after that. And so I get it that you want to, see that number be as low as possible. I was desperate to lose the weight, so I did anything to make those scale numbers go down. Now, I'm fortunate that the up and down, I eventually realized that was just natural, so I didn't start doing really stupid stuff. I didn't start taking laxatives and starving myself and all those other things that could be very, very damaging. But I think stepping on the scale daily can lead to that very, very easily. That's a personal opinion, okay? Let's just be real on that. I have no proof of that. But I think if you're that hyper-focused on your weight, it is very, very easy to go down that road. And so to avoid it, once a week, just once a week. If you're not trying to lose, if you're actually just trying to do what I'm doing and build muscle and thin out your body, once a month. Even less. You can probably go with even less. Just keep track of your food. Make sure you're high in protein, high in fiber, and you shouldn't need to weigh in or measure yourself that much. The same for measurements, though. I never did get into measuring every day. I instinctively knew that was kind of ridiculous. We're going to switch over to the Profusion one, and I love this color Bordeaux. It's one of my favorites in the palette. I'm going to put that over that same area using the same brush and try to, get a little bit more in there again. A little deeper on the red, but there. Mostly because too much browns. I need that red. I need those. And see, I don't even need much of it. That one just came right in. So, as for measurements, really, to me, honestly, if you're looking for health and you're looking, not necessarily to lose weight, measurements are a good way to see progress, and progress would be the only reason I would take them, to see where you're going, to see, at least get yourself a baseline, and then, a few months later do it again to see what kind of progress you've made. I think measurement progress is probably better than weight progress. But measurements will go up and down too. I've noticed. I've had that problem in the past. And when I first started having that problem, I was like, what's going on here? Am I measuring wrong? I don't know. I think, honestly, don't know why measurements go up and down. You could be hitting the wrong spot. You could be an inch, I do my arm. I try to hit this curve right here, but I could be a little bit lower, and that'll be a slightly different measurement. It's sometimes hard to get in the same place, especially in areas where you do not have a natural curve to help hold the tape measure. So I'm going to use tonic to deepen up my crease a little bit. The way I do, it's help tying in this outer color to what's going on the inner lid. So don't be surprised if you're taking measurements, if your measurements also seem to go up and down. And that's another reason why I prefer to take those on a more monthly basis as well. Seeing a bit of fallout with this one. Just remember, as you're trying to track your progress, that measurements, weight, all of that will shift. There will be days when you have more water weight, and that's going to reflect in your muscles. It's going to reflect in your weight. There's going to be days when you have a lot less water weight. If you had too much salt sometime in the week, or if you had more salt sometime in the week, you are going to hold on to more water. If you take your measurements right after the day after you've done a workout, you're going to find that your measurements go up a little bit. So just be aware that these things are going to happen. Going to go up and down, and it's honestly normal. The thing to keep in mind is your big picture. Really. And you aren't going to see a big picture until, you're 3 or 4 months in at the very least, possibly even longer. All right, I'm going to use this fire starter under my eye. I don't normally use reds under my eye, but we seem to have gone on already brown with this one. It's fine. Not a lot of color for once. It's also fine. Well, that's a nice color. And this color doesn't make me look like, my eyes are, like I don't like using a lot of reds around my eyes or under my eyes. I think they sometimes make me look like I'm sick. I have a cold or something. This is a nice color that doesn't do that. Just remember that everything's going to change. And it is the long run that makes the difference, not the immediate tomorrow or whatever. So if you're going to take your measurements, if you're going to do your weight, space it out so that you're not going to get frustrated. Try not to get obsessed with it, because that's not good for you either. Just keep in mind that long picture. I just don't want you all to be, thinking I'm doing all the right things, but it's not working. I went through that with menopause. I was doing all the right things, but it wasn't working, and it drove me nuts. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped I decided to take a break for about a year. And then, of course, everything else happened in a year, turned into 3. But thing is, you're aiming for health, hopefully, and your weight is not going to be tied into that. Some of your measurements will be. They have found that, having a smaller waistline is healthier in relative to your size. But beyond that, just keep trying to aim for the healthier things for your life. That's all. Just don't let the whole diet culture, you've got to lose thing suck you in. You need to find a good, happy place that'll keep you going, while at the same time, not letting all of that garbage come into your head and make you think you should be doing better than what you are. Do it the healthiest way possible. Whichever goal you have, losing weight, gaining muscle, do it the healthiest way you can. That is the thing. So don't let the inches and the actual scale determine whether or not you're doing it the healthiest way you can. Let what you're eating and whether or not you're being active determine those things. Whether or not you're happy when you're not thinking about your weight, because I think most of us are not happy when we think about our weight, unfortunately. Let those things determine whether or not you're successful. You do want to keep track, like I said, because if you've got a goal to thin down some, you need to know that that's what you're actually doing, but you don't necessarily need to be on top of it every single day or even every single week. Anyway, the eyes are actually kind of done, mostly, for the most part. Don't know how I feel about them yet. We're going to get the rest of our face on and we'll see how it all looks, and I will be right back. So here's our look, probably the closest you'll get to a neutral look on me. And there's the eyes. I actually added a little bit of the fool's gold on the inside and those two duochrome colors I kind of added here with a little bit of the red over them. Probably can't really see it in my camera and my filming setup, unfortunately. However, you know, for a neutral look, I actually really think I like it. I like the ochre that I used for my highlight. It gives me a little bit of a pop while letting the rest of the look kind of speak for itself, so to speak. And it's not overly neutral. I mean, it's pretty damn neutral, okay? But it's dark enough and it still has a bit of the drama to it that it actually really works for my eyes. Surprisingly enough, get the browns dark and red enough, they do seem to work on my skin. Anyway, so I'm not sure how well I explained anything in this video. I sort of fumbled along. Again, no notes. I did much better with notes, but I also ran longer, so well, you all are used to me. I'm kind of fumble around, so I fumbled around a bit. But I just want you to, if you're going to take this year and start looking to losing weight or just losing fat, which is not necessarily going to mean you're going to lose weight if you're going to try to lose fat, and that is an equally legitimate thing to attempt to do. Just be healthy about it. Don't let the obsessions of the diet industry drag you in and suck you under. Keep your eye on the long-term goal. And, you know, some people are going to lose very, very quickly, and others are going to lose very, very slow, depending on their metabolism and how old they are and things like that. So the other thing is, don't compare yourself to anybody else's body weight or whatever. You want to try to eat healthier, which is why I say something like Lose It or the Map My Fitness app or something that will let you log your food. Would probably be a good thing. And initially, you may want to just eat the way you normally eat, see where you fall, and see where your changes need to be, because you may be thinking in your head, I eat too much sugar. In my case, it's true, but I eat too much sugar. But when you log your food that you normally eat for a couple of weeks, my hair is being kind of crazy. You log your food that you normally eat for a couple of weeks and you look at your patterns, maybe it's not sugar that's the problem. Maybe you're eating white rice and white potatoes and not whole healthy grains. Maybe that's part of the issue that you need to look at. Regardless of how you go about it, make sure it's healthy. Make sure the changes are small enough that you can do them, big enough so that they're a bit of a challenge, and not anything that will have you obsessing over things. Do we need to track our weight and our inches? Some people would say no. Others would say yes. I'm kind of in the middle where I want to track. I want to see my progress in that way. But there are other ways to gauge your progress. I started off bedridden. I now can walk 5 to 7 miles a day or I can do enough that it's about 5 to 7 miles a day. That's a huge amount of progress that's much more important than the 48 pounds I lost. Unless you're 300 to 500 pounds, that can be worrisome. You can't get around. Things like that, yeah, you have to focus on your weight. We've discussed that before. But in the end, you have to focus on health. And sometimes weight loss does not lead to your best health. Find the best way to focus, find the best things for you to focus on. But like I said, if you're going to do weigh-ins and you're going to do measurements, find something that works for you in such a way that you don't get obsessive about it, because it's nothing to be obsessive over. It's just a measure of where you're at now. I'm really bumbling this up, and I'm trying not to. Because, and the reason I'm kind of hitting the nail over the head, so to speak, a little much, is because your journey, I want your journey to be a healthy journey, not one where you're obsessive and frustrated and you want to be 120 pounds thin, and that's not what's going to be healthy for you when you're not even. Just, you know, set a reasonable goal and then go from there, and just make however you reach that goal a healthy journey before a I must lose the weight at all costs kind of journey. And that anything that you do to measure that journey is just a measurement of where you're at in that moment of time, rather than a I failed, I've succeeded, whatever. It's just a measure of where you're at in that moment of time. I think that's what I want to try to get to. Because we don't want to all be obsessing over that, if that makes sense. Anyway, so, really, I've got to get better at some of these things. We're going to be starting to talk about food soon, and that's going to be a big deal because we're going to be talking about diets and stuff like that. And those can be very touchy subjects for people. Anyway, I hope you like what you've seen, and that if you're not subscribed, that you will subscribe. And if you do subscribe, do hit the notification bell to know when I upload again. If you're part of my notification squad, please check your bells, because yeah, YouTube's still doing that mess. Thank you, YouTube. And if you don't subscribe, I will be sad, but you're always welcome to visit us again, and I hope you do. And if you do, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. This has gotten cold. But it's not bad cold. There's less of a bite to it. It tastes almost... I want to say chocolate, but that's not it. I also want to say caramel, like a spicy caramel. Regardless, it's still good. This is a tea you can drink cold. I didn't know that before today. You all have a great day. Bye.